Chapter 4, Focusing Marketing and Strategy with Segmentation and Positioning. This is from Essentials of Marketing. So during this lecture, you'll learn about 6 key areas. We will know about the way to define generic markets and product markets. We will know what market segmentation is and how to segment product markets into submarkets. There will be 3 approaches to market-oriented strategy planning. We're going to know the dimensions that may be useful for segmenting markets, what positioning is and why it's useful to marketers, and many new terms. So let's get started. So this chapter brings focus to the search for market opportunities. It covers the topics of segmentation and targeting in great detail. And then we move on to talk about differentiation and positioning. Here we see a picture or an advertisement of a famous furniture company, La-Z-Boy. This company has been around for almost 100 years, and in this case, La-Z-Boy has designed more fashionable chairs to tap into new market segments. Prior to introducing a product, however, a company such as La-Z-Boy or Nissan or Toyota has to have a good understanding of the target market. It also needs to assess the current state of competition, including how consumers perceive the differences and similarities among alternative brands. Should the organization then decide to proceed with the development of a marketing mix to serve a particular target market, it must then differentiate its offering. So in this ad, it appears that La-Z-Boy, the furniture company, also thinks that gender provides a good way to segment its market. So throughout this lecture, this presentation will cover how marketers can use market segmentation, differentiation, and positioning to take advantage of opportunities in the marketplace. So the search for opportunities can begin by understanding markets. And strategy planning is a narrowing down process. So what does this mean? What is a company's market? Market is a group of potential customers with similar needs who are willing to exchange something of value with sellers offering various goods or services. That is, ways of satisfying those needs. The key point here is we must understand needs and wants of customers. Don't just focus on the product. The product-oriented approach ignores customers. Customers make a market. Generic markets to product markets. A generic market is a market with broadly similar needs and sellers offering various, often diverse, ways of satisfying those needs. A product-oriented market is a market with very similar needs and sellers offering various close substitute ways of satisfying those needs. So one more time, a generic market is a market with broadly similar needs. A product market is a market with very similar needs. Broadly similar needs versus very similar needs. All right, it's very different. So product market is a market with very similar needs and sellers offering various close substitute ways of satisfying those needs. Now, broaden market definitions to find opportunities. What we mean by this is we include both generic market definitions and product market definitions. This can help firms find opportunities. Too broad a definition makes the company's efforts and resources seem insignificant. So look at this chart. We see product market definition on the right, generic market definition on the left. In the center we see 4 elements. So a complete product market and generic market definition includes all of these parts. Managers need to think more often about the product they are already produce and sell. And this can be done by naming product markets with a 4-part description. Here are the 4 parts. The product type, customer needs, customer types, geographic area. So what is product type? The type of good or service offered. That's what a product type is. It should meet customer needs. It must meet customer needs, otherwise it will fail. Customer needs, what is this? This refers to the needs of the customer or the user that are being met by the product. This is the key to success in marketing and sales. Customer types, what is this? This is where we identify who specifically is using the product. And geographic area, this identifies where the market is located. So in defining generic markets, there is no product type. Okay, in defining generic markets, there's no product type. When we define product markets, we have all 4 elements. Right? So back to generic market definition, no product type. The definition consists only of customer needs, consumer types, geographic area. That's why this curve here indicates this is the key of generic market definition, whereas this is the key for product market definition. So generic market is a market with broadly similar needs. Sellers offer various ways of satisfying those needs. For example, entertainment seekers. That's the target market. They may go to Blu-ray to find a disc player, or they may want HD TV, or they may want to cruise around Hawaii or the Caribbean. They'll go to Carnival. Right? Focus on satisfying the need instead of features and functions. This is a major difference in selling and in marketing. You can see in many salespeople and in marketing advertisements, if there's an emphasis on features and functions versus satisfying the needs, is clearly distant. It's clearly different. It's difficult to define the different product types to satisfy a broad, generic market need. It's very difficult to do this. Okay? So, for example, one travels to Europe, one needs a camera, Canon versus Nikon, but there's more to the traveler's needs than simple photographic equipment. You may want a digital versus black and white and many other different types of needs. A product market is a market with very similar needs. This is different from a generic market. So a product market has very similar needs. The sellers offer various close substitute ways of satisfying those needs. This is different from the generic market. Here we see a drain cleaner product. Here we see a PDA, personal digital assistant, way to keep notes. So segmentation is a 2-step process. Okay? This process fails too often. Many people fail at this because beginners start with the whole mass market and then try to find 1 or 2 demographic characteristics to divide up the market. And when you divide up the market, you are segmenting the market. Frequently, this fails because, again, A beginner starts with the whole mass market. That's not the way we start. Right? The steps in segmentation are, first we name broad product markets. That's the first step, right here. And this is called disaggregating. Disaggregating is when you name broad product markets. So marketers must break apart all possible needs, customer needs, people's needs, business needs, into some generic markets and broad product markets in which the firm may be able to profitably operate. So again, step one, name a broad product market, or disaggregating. Then segmenting is the step that is aggregating. So disaggregating, aggregating. So we cluster people with similar needs into a market segment. And the market segment is a relatively homogeneous group, which means it's the same type. So a relatively same type group of consumers who will respond to the marketing mix, which is your 4 Ps, product, place, promotion, price, in a similar way. So disaggregating is step one, then aggregating. We cluster people with similar needs into a market segment. Two-step process, 1, 2. So we must obtain information about competitors. So starting with all customer needs, we reach to some generic market. Right? This is a complex process. The process often fails because marketers do not realize how complex consumer behavior can be, and marketers attempt to categorize a market around too few consumer-related variables of distinction. Frequently, marketers fail in this process. Why is this? Let's look at this. All customer needs are the focus. Marketers need to break apart or disaggregate all customer needs. That's the key at the top. We have to break apart or disaggregate all of these needs. Now, a generic market is where the market is broad, it has a broad, similar needs, and sellers are offering various ways of satisfying those needs. Okay, so we start to narrow down to very specific product market. So defining the market broadly can help the marketer to uncover some potential new opportunities. That's what we're looking for. Potential new opportunities. And the marketer can then narrow down to specific product markets. Narrowing down, narrowing down, narrowing down, we find specific product markets. Now, a product market is a market with very similar needs and sellers offering various close substitute ways of satisfying those needs. And segmenting is the next step in an aggregating process. So we start from disaggregation, we move to aggregating. The marketer groups together people with similar needs into a market segment. Here we look for similarities. So after we define the market, marketers can select a particular target market approach. Okay? All customer needs, we start here, we have to break apart disaggregate all of these, because a generic market is one with broadly similar needs and the sellers are offering various ways to satisfy these broad similar needs. So when we define the market broadly, that helps us find some potential new opportunities. Okay? Break apart, broad definition, then we can start to narrow down to specific product markets. And then we get into an aggregating state, And here we group people with similar needs into a market segment. That's the process. So let's look at this grid. So market segmentation groups customers with similar needs. So we're trying to get people with similar needs. We disaggregate, then we aggregate. So the first step in the way to do this effectively involves naming a broad product market of interest to the firm. Something broad up here, such as bicycle riders. All right, we'll take bicycles as our theme here. This is what are we doing here? We are disaggregating. We're breaking apart, going broad, very broad, into bicycle riders. And then what are we going to do? We're going to disaggregate and find 5 sub-markets. So this is kind of a grid that's very helpful to segment. So the segmenting process is also called an aggregating process. So here we have 5 different sub-markets for bicycle riders. Some bicycle riders just want to exercise. Some want to go off-road and have fun. Some want to get a bicycle simply to transport themselves from point A to point B. Some like to socialize via bicycling, and some want to do bicycling to make for a greener environment and not pollute. So we go from broad market to small markets, and that's the aggregating process. Now you can see in the next chart, how far should we go in aggregating? Do we keep breaking down into smaller parts? Is there a limitation? So this product market shows 3 segments. On the left, the vertical axis, there's a status dimension, and on the right, horizontal axis, dependability dimension. Again, this is in the context of a bicycle. Okay. So one can segment a market into any number of segments. Here we've got 3 segments. But how far should the marketer go in aggregating consumers into target markets? Should we go down to 6, 9, 12? How many? It depends. There's criteria for segmenting. We want to create segments that are homogeneous, which means they are similar. They're within. The customers in the market segment should be as similar as possible. So these are segments. So the customers here should be as similar as possible with respect to their response to the 4 Ps, to our marketing variables. Right? So everyone in this group is likely to respond in the same way to price, product, promotion. Okay? Those are the 4 Ps. They're going to respond to us in a similar way to our marketing variables. That's why we group them this way. A heterogeneous segment is when the customers in different segments are different in regards to their response. Right? Substantial is a segmentation where it has to be large enough to be profitable. So here we have, within these A, B, C, D, E, F, we have homogeneous groups. Okay? Each one of these, there are 6 groups here. They are homogeneous within the group. They are heterogeneous outside the group. So A is different from B. So there is a heterogeneous. These are different. Within A, it's homogeneous. Homo means same. Hetero means different. But the third criteria for segmenting is the size of these 6 segments must be large enough to be profitable. If we cannot achieve a profit within each of these segments, it does not justify building a product or service and trying to do business here. So the substantial criteria for segmenting is it has to be justified. The revenue must exceed its expenses. And it has to be operational. So the dimensions should be useful for identifying customers and deciding on their variables. So 4 criteria: homogeneous, heterogeneous, substantial, means it's big enough to make a profit, and operational, we're able to do it. Okay, so once again, homogeneous means it's similar. People grouped together within a market segment should have similar needs and wants, and they should respond to the 4 Ps in a similar way. Heterogeneous means they're different. So Group A is different from Group B. Right? They have different needs, different wants, and they're going to respond in a different way. Substantial means the size of Group A and the size of Group B and the size of Group C should be large enough so that we can achieve a profit. And they have to be operational, which means they should be useful for identifying customers. Okay. So there are 3 ways to develop marketing strategies. Let's review these. There's a single target market approach, and that's where we segment the market and pick one homogeneous segment, one segment that's the same. The second approach is a multiple target market approach, and that's where we segment the market and pick 2 or more segments and treat each as a separate target market. Then there's a third way, and that's where we combine the target market approach, combine 2 or more sub-markets into one large market. So 3 ways to develop marketing strategies. So here's another grid. A segmenter can develop a different marketing mix for each segment. Okay. And what we want to do is to have market-oriented strategies that refine the segmentation process into ways to take action. We want to be able to take action at each one of these sub-markets. So these are sub-markets, right? And there's a single target market approach and a multiple target market approach, as you can see here. Single target market approach, multiple target market approach. In the single target market approach, the marketer segments the market and picks just one of the homogeneous segments as the target. So these are supposed to be homogeneous. That means they're the same. And if it's a single target market, we're going to choose one of these sub-markets. If it's a multiple target market, we're going to choose like 1, 2, 3 different strategies to tackle 3 different groups. So the multiple target market approach segments the markets and then chooses 2 or 3 and treats each segment as a separate target market, needing a different marketing mix. So the marketing mix for this one will be different from the marketing mix of this one, which will be different from the marketing mix of this one. That's the multiple target market approach. Here, we just have one single target market. And then a combined target market approach is when we combine 2 or more sub-markets into one larger target market as the basis of a strategy. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sub-markets, and we're going to combine 2 of the sub-markets into one. We're going to have one strategy here, right, with the same marketing mix. And we would keep referring to marketing mix. What's marketing mix? That's the 4 Ps: product, place, price, promotion. That's what we have to work with. So if we're going to combine two sub-markets, that's what we're doing here. multiple, single, combined. So when we do a combined market approach, we put two or more together into one larger target market. Maybe because these single markets are too small. They're not substantial enough. So we want to seek economies from having one effort serve more than one market. Right? So we're going to do one effort here, and it will serve this market and this market. Segmenters, we aim at one or more homogeneous segments and try to do a different marketing mix for each segment. All right, so we're going to get more sales out of going after two sub-markets in this case. Okay, segmenting versus combining. We can debate this a long time. What are we talking about? There are many factors that affect the choice between being a segmenter or a combiner. You're going to segment or you're going to combine. Constant debate, constant analysis. Combiners try to increase the size of the target markets by combining two or more segments. Combining means joining together. So if you are a combiner, you want to increase the size of the target market to improve your chance for success. But too much combining is risky because an innovative segmenter may chip away and chip away and chip away at the various segments of the overall combined market. Okay? So if you combine too many small sub-markets into one, it may be risky. So segmenters aim at one or more homogeneous segments and try to develop a marketing mix for each segment. Okay, so segmenters, which are different from combiners, try to satisfy very well. They may produce bigger sales. If the segmenter can capture a large share of a small market segment, they could do better than a combiner. And many consumers are willing to pay more in order to satisfy their needs more precisely. So it goes back to the question, should we segment or should we combine? Well, that depends on the firm's resources. How much resource do we have? Do we have capital and money to enable this? What's the competition in the various segments? What's the similarity of customer needs, attitudes, and buying behavior? But at the end of the day, profit is the balancing point, because we're interested in the profit potential, and that will make the ultimate decision, the guiding light. So it's generally safer to be a segmenter because you try to satisfy some customers very well versus many customers so fairly well. You use single or multiple target market approach. You can avoid the combined market approach. Okay, and here's an example. Kaipa sports shoes for cheerleaders. Kaipa was in direct competition with Nike and Reebok, but they decided to address the needs for those sports-minded people who do cheerleading. And for those of you who are cheerleaders or were cheerleaders, you'll remember that some of the stunts or maneuvers involves putting a person on top of the shoulders of another person or throwing them in the air. The person on the bottom has to put his or her hands on the shoes of the person in order to balance the person or to throw the person. And most shoes, if you look at the bottom, do not have any holes. Holes for what? Holes, H-O-L-E-S, holes to grip. So the person who wants to throw the cheerleader into the air or catch the cheerleader or simply balance the cheerleader needs to have a good way to grip that person's feet. And Kaipa found that a shoe with a sole, S-O-L-E, the bottom of the shoe, if you had holes in it so the fingers could enter the sole, similar to a bowling ball, then a good grip could be had for the cheerleaders on the base level. So Kaipa did a very strict segmentation, a very narrow niche of customers, cheerleaders who want holes on their shoes to grip. Okay, let's check our knowledge. Here we have a neighborhood restaurant in a diverse market area, and the owner sought to appeal to a wide range of consumers by offering a different menu. And so he offered different cuisines. He offered American, Italian, Chinese, German, Thai, and Indian. So he offered all these different cuisines in one restaurant. But the restaurant started to lose sales to newer restaurants that were offering only American, only Italian, only Chinese, okay, from a single cuisine. So other restaurants in the area that came were only American or only Italian or only Chinese. So this is an example that illustrates the danger of adopting what kind of approach. What's the danger here? Well, the danger here is if you combine all of these cuisines, combine all of these types of food, what are you doing? You have a combined target market approach. So you're offering all of these to the area. But then another entrepreneur comes and only offers Italian. Another one comes and only offers Thai. Another one comes and only offers Indian. They will chip away or take away the customer base because they are specialists in that cuisine. Here you are trying to offer all types of cuisines. So the danger of a combined target market is you start to lose sales, you start to lose customers when other businesses try to invade in your space. So that is a risk. So what's the relation of potential target market dimensions to the marketing strategy decision? So here we see that market segmentation really forces a marketing manager to decide which product market dimensions might be useful for planning marketing strategies. So the dimensions should help guide marketing mix planning. So this chart's going to show the basic kinds of dimensions and their probable effect on the 4 P's. What are the 4 P's? Product, price, promotion, place. Okay. So behavioral needs and attitudes, for example, can influence product design, such as packaging, product line assortment, branding, but it can also affect promotion. For example, what do potential customers need to know about a product and what appeals should be used? Right, so behavioral needs and attitudes can influence the product decisions. But on the other hand, the urgency to get us needs satisfied and the willingness to shop sometimes will frequently influence the decision about place. Where should the products be distributed? And the price. How much of a premium will the customers pay to address the need for urgency? Right? If urgency is the key point, place and price could be greatly effective or vary. And geographic location and other demographic characteristics can affect the size of the target markets. Right? And that suggests the potential, whole market potential, and the place where the product should be made available, and the promotion, where and to whom will promotion efforts be addressed. So Those are the forces that exist, right? And these are the dimensions that will probably influence how the marketer decides to use his 4 P's: product, price, place, promotion. That's the marketing mix. Okay. So segmenting dimensions guide marketing mix planning. Right? Mix planning means MIX. Mix planning are how we're going to calibrate, how we're going to use our 4 P's. Right? So market segmentation forces marketing managers to decide which product market dimensions might be useful for planning the marketing strategies. So product market might be described by behavioral segmentation dimensions. Here's the key. Behavioral segmenting dimensions. What's this about? Needs. Well, customer needs should be economic, functional, or psychological. This is the cornerstone. This is what must be addressed. Benefits tend to be situation specific. So a common example is someone looking to buy a car may be looking for good gas mileage or how far the car can go with its gas. Or it could be the ability to have 6 or 7 passengers. It depends. Right? It's situation specific. Thoughts. Buyers can be grouped by whether they have favorable or unfavorable attitudes or beliefs about the brand or product category. The rate of use. Some customers may be heavy, medium, light, or even non-users. Okay. Purchase relationship. Customers could be segmented by whether they have an ongoing relationship, intermittent use, or a bad relationship. Brand familiarity might vary from insisting on a brand to non-recognition or rejection. Kind of shopping. Well, this refers to whether buyers do comparison shopping or perhaps buy on a convenience basis. Okay. Buyers might also use different problem-solving approaches and could be grouped in this way. Or buyers may have different information needs. Some customers want a lot of information while others need very little. So, geographic dimensions are often used for segmentation. There could be different languages or different laws in different countries, or a business may only be located in a certain geography. So the region of the world or country matters. North America versus Europe, New Zealand versus Japan. Region within a country. Within the United States, there's the Rocky Mountain region, the Southeast region, the Northeast region. These could provide the basis for segmentation. The size of the city could also be useful for segmentation. So geography makes a huge effect on segmenting customer markets. Okay. Demographic dimensions. All right. What are demographic dimensions? Well, they are the following. The income, how much money a person or a family makes. Right? How much a marketing mix could appeal to most families within a particular income range. Another demographic is sex or age. Right? The family size or family life cycle stage. The family could be young singles, they could be married with no children, they could be married with children, they could be a small family, large family, they could be divorced, empty nesters, senior citizens. Occupation and education are also used for segmentation. And there's social class segmentation, so lower economic class, middle class, upper class. And, ethnicity or social class. So Hispanic, Asian, Native American, white, multiracial. All of these can be used for segmenting consumer markets. Now, how do we segment business markets? Business markets are different than consumer markets. And some of these dimensions are the kind of relationship between the buyer and the seller. And relationships might range from very weak loyalty to very strong loyalty to a vendor. The type of customer varies, so customers could be segmented by whether they are service producers, a government agency, or a manufacturer. Again, this is a business, right? We're marketing to businesses, B2B. What type of customer? Right? Demographic variables, so locations, size of the company or industry that they're playing in, how the customer will use the product. This depends. The product might be sold to be used in an installation, could be a component, or it could be a raw material. It all differs. Type of buying situation. Some characteristics of the buying situation could include the number of people involved in the purchase, or whether the buying process is centralized or decentralized. And then we got the purchasing methods, which refer to factors like buyer uses bids, vendor analyses, e-commerce websites, and other methods of buying. So the way we segment business markets tend to be different than the way we segment individual consumer markets. So let's see on the next chart. Here is a advertisement in a B2B situation. Baldor Motors and Drives. It's a B2B situation, and this ad shows how business-to-business marketers can incorporate segmenting dimensions in their marketing tactics. So it's targeting a particular type of customer in this case, and the firms that have large vehicle fleets and the need for industrial electric motors. That's the target. They have large vehicle fleets and a need for industrial electrical motors. So the type of buying situation is also relevant. It most likely represents a modified repurchase or modified rebuy purchase. So if the fleet buyer is considering alternative sources for replacement parts, maybe this is strictly a aftermarket replacement sale. So a modified rebuy purchase is used. Again, business-to-business segmentation. So let's check our knowledge. Here we got someone who is a pastor. A pastor is a clergyman, and he's responsible for a church. He decides to start prospecting for new members to come to his church. He focuses first on the people who live within very close to the church. So people within a mile or a kilometer radius of the church are those that he first tries to reach out to. He contacts them by mail and by visiting them door to door. Then he moves on to people who live from 1 to 2 miles away or 1 to 2 kilometers away from the church. And then 2 to 3 miles away. So he first starts 1 kilometer, then 2 to 3 kilometers, then 3 to 4 kilometers, then up to 10 kilometers. So the pastor or the clergyman appears to be focusing on what type of segmenting dimension. What's he doing here? Well, he's doing geographic segmenting. It's all geographic based. 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers. That's how he is approaching or prospecting for new customers. Okay? So how do we qualify? And there are qualifying and determining dimensions. So the way we select important segmenting dimensions, we think about 2 different types. We got qualifying dimensions, determining dimensions. Qualifying dimensions, determining dimensions. What are qualifying dimensions? Those are the ones relevant to a customer type and a product type in a product market. So customer type and a product market. And this help identifies the core features, features and functions that has to be offered to everyone in the product market. Okay? So we're identifying the core benefits. We have to address the needs here. So we've got to do benefit selling, but it's going to be customer type in a product market. Determining dimensions are different. Those are the ones that actually affect the customer's purchase of a specific product or brand in a product market. Okay? And they can be further segmented into groups. Okay? So let's see. Several factors affect the specificity and use of determining and qualifying dimensions in segmenting markets. So determining dimensions may be very specific. It depends on whether the marketer is concerned with a general product type or a specific brand. And determining dimensions may change over time because needs may change or because competitors enter the market. Qualifying dimensions are important too because they help identify the core features that must be offered to everyone in a product market. And within a product market, within a broad product market, there may also be different dimensions for different sub-markets. Okay. Now, let's get into this. Ethical issues exist when we come to segmenting. So they have to be considered, and ethical issues, some critics argue that target marketing exploits consumers or creates unnecessary wants and demands that people don't really need or businesses don't really need, and it may even cause physical, emotional, or financial harm. So success in international marketing requires even more segmenting because there are so many countries, languages, and unique cultures. However, segmenting international markets adds just one step to the whole process of segmentation. First, marketers must segment by country or region, and then they have to proceed with the same basic segmentation approaches we used above. Okay, so there you go, segmentation. Now, next advertisement. What are the relevant segmenting dimensions? Here is a jewelry company, Belda Jewelry, but they're using carrots as fingers. And they have a ring here, a Belda Jewelry ring. So this ad shows some qualifying and determining dimensions for jewelry. Qualifying and determining dimensions for jewelry. A jewel enhances feminine beauty. So Belda frequently has its sales locations in big shopping malls, and they include pieces of jewelry that you won't find anywhere else, and with prices that are matched. But it's a big change from the traditional approach to jewelry, which has stones, and stones like diamonds and garnets and ambers and sapphires. Belda is different. And Belda's history is a long one, and its unique, well-crafted goods are testament, or really support its creativity and style. Okay, so let's check our knowledge again. So here we have a family of 4. Father's taking them on a vacation and trying to make a hotel reservation for a trip in Disney World. He eliminates all the hotels that were 2 miles away from the main gate. That gives you a clue. 2 miles away from the Disney World, he eliminates those hotels. So then he focuses exclusively on hotels offering suites so that his family would have more space. A suite in a hotel has more space than just a room. So he eventually selects the Excelsior Hotel because he knew the hotel offered suites and a complimentary breakfast. So his decision involved 2 miles within the main gate, a suite, and a complimentary breakfast. So for him, the availability of the complimentary breakfast was what? It was a determining segmenting dimension. A determining dimension. Qualifying dimensions are those relevant to including a customer type in a product market. So in this situation, the father narrowed his search based on geography, 2 miles from the Disney World gate, and the qualifying dimension was a hotel offering suites. And after he got those, he made his decision based on whether a breakfast was available. The breakfast offering is a determining dimension. It is one that actually affected the customer's purchase, which is his reservation, of a specific product, which was the hotel, in a product market. So the best answer here, or best description here, is determining. So there are many sophisticated techniques used for segmenting. We can do clustering, we can do customer relationship management, CRM, and this comes from the use of computers. Computer-aided methods make marketers, really aid marketers when it comes to segmenting markets. So why? Because computers and software can record, sort, recombine, analyze many variables related to consumer behavior. At the same time, allows marketers to develop a much more sophisticated approach to market segmenting. So computers really help marketers. And some of these are the two techniques: clustering, which tries to find similar patterns within sets of data, and CRM, which is a modeling technique that can predict types of products or services an individual customer might want based on the information stored in the database. And they anticipate the emerging needs, helps a marketer to maintain a long-term relationship with customers. So when it comes to cluster analysis, here's an example. Here's the company, Impact Media. They are trying to do B2B, business to business, and they're using zip codes or pinpointing analysis. And so Impact Media will help other businesses accomplish more effective marketing, better use of their marketing dollar by using computer techniques, clustering. So their customers, Impact Media's customers, wants to find their customers in a region, a geographic area. So once the clusters are identified, the consumers within the customers can receive, for example, free samples of products, etc. Cluster analysis, frequently used, definitely requiring computers. Positioning. Marketers can differentiate the marketing mix in order to get customer needs better achieved than competitors, and they can build a very competitive advantage. So positioning is how we think customers think about the benefits of the product, right, and the benefits of the brand. So we can do marketing research that's designed to collect information about consumer perceptions and determine differences among competing products in the mind of the consumer, right? So many firms use promotion to help position how a marketing mix meets the customer's specific needs. So here we've got Rolex showcasing their Oyster Perpetual Sea Dweller Deep Sea Men's Watch. So this is a man's watch, Oyster Perpetual Sea Dweller. So Rolex is one of the most famous and prolific Swiss watchmaker, and it's their elegance and attention to detail, luxury watch with quite a brand presence. So this is positioning there. how the customer thinks about a Rolex looking like this. So now, let's use this grid. So it's a diagram that shows the output of a computer analysis. So we use computers to do positioning analysis, and then here we have two attributes of the soap. Soap's the product, and these are the different brand names of the soap. And here we have whether it's a deodorant soap, non-deodorant, moisturizing soap, low moisturizing. So this varies in degrees: very deodorant, hardly deodorant, very low moisturizing, high moisturizing. So the closer that we have two dots together, the more similar these brands are in the minds of a consumer. So each segment may have its own preferences. So now we look at circles that show the combination of attributes. So positioning could lead to the combining of instead of segmenting. Right? So if a firm can successfully appeal to several segments within the same product, there's going to be more efficiency and more sales and more profits. Therefore, positioning studies like these are part of a broad analysis. They identify important attributes of the product, the product offering, and they identify what offerings are likely to appeal to which segments. And this provides a basis for changing the marketing mix, so you can change the 4 Ps: product, price, promotion, place, and it could be repositioning the product. So this is a positioning product space example. Now, a positioning statement provides direction. And what is this? Well, here is a standard statement, and we can insert in this parenthetical areas what we need. So we can put our target market for our target market, our brand. So for high-end, luxury, wealthy golfers, our brand Rolex offers the oyster shell watch. Right? So you're putting the target market, the brand, product type, delivers the key benefits or point of differentiation. Okay? Because our brand Rolex is forever and ever highest quality and assurance. So we use a positioning statement that provides direction for the overall marketing strategy. So let's look at a famous company called DeWalt. And here's the positioning statement for DeWalt, which is a tools company. So for the do-it-yourselfer who takes pride in achieving a professional result, DeWalt power tools, of all power tools, are superior in helping you create a high-quality finish because they are engineered for and chosen by tradesmen who depend on their tools to make a living. So this is a positioning statement, right? So it's one of the company's target markets is the do-it-yourselfer, and they take pride in achieving a professional result. So this is the target market in this positioning statement. Okay? DeWalt Power Tools are the brand and the product type. DeWalt Power Tools is the brand. DeWalt. That's the brand. And Power Tools is the product type. The key benefit here is they are superior in helping you create a high quality finish. So they're very superior, highest quality. High quality finish, and that's what the reason to believe in is. And they are, why is this? Because they are engineered for and chosen by tradesmen who depend on their tools to make a living. Okay? So, target market, do-it-yourselfers. This is a positioning statement that provides direction. Okay. So let's check our knowledge one more time. Here we go. The product space graph, or a perceptual map, resulting from a positioning study for shampoo shows a substantial target market that is currently served by only one product, exotic balsam. So the product name is exotic balsam, and this is for shampoo. So which of the following is a reasonable course of action for a competing manufacturer? So here's a different company who wants to get in the space of shampoos. And right, they have done a perceptual map, and they see a positioning study shows a huge substantial market. So this would probably be any of these might be okay, like develop a new product to compete, yes. Look for an area on the map where there is a smaller target market that's not served by any products, yes, that's reasonable. Attempt to reposition a current product as an alternative, yes. Do a broader analysis that includes an examination of customer needs and attitudes, absolutely. All of them. So now you know generic markets, product markets, market segmentation, how to segment product markets into sub-markets, the 3 approaches to market-oriented strategy planning, dimensions, what positioning is, and new terms. Here are the new terms you should be comfortable with. That's it for this Chapter 4.